I am Profit from MetaDAO.
I'm Shri from Credible.
And yeah, we're going to talk about Credible and the raise. And so, yeah, we'd just love to start with what is Credible? What does the company do?
Okay, so in the simplest way possible, Credible is a payment service provider. We acquire payment for businesses like prediction markets, gaming, crypto exchanges, creator platforms, and so on from emerging markets like India, Philippines, Vietnam, and settle it on the same day or real time with the merchants based in US and Europe. And it's where we use stablecoin in order to give like instant or same day settlement.
Got it. And how did you start working on this problem? Like, what was your original motivation? Were there any pivots and how you thought about the problem? And yeah, I
Yeah,
would love to hear about the founder
yeah.
journey.
So I'll tell you, we had two iterations basically in terms of finding PMF. The funny part is like I have been in payments pretty much all my life, but when we started Credible, we initially wanted to do trade finance. We have like lending license in India, so we wanted to kind of use that license, raise capital using stable coins from the global markets, deploy it for different businesses who are doing trade with India. So that was, I would say, the version one of Credible. We ended up not using any Indian licenses, and we started working with a fund based out of SF, used Credible to deploy capital between US and Africa. That was the second iteration. Yeah, so we were more like just a tech platform, quite similar to Goldfinch, Centrifuge, working with private credit funds and helping them deploy in Africa. And then I would say in Q3 last year, we actually, got the real PMF where we were like, okay, we already built the payment infra. We were already doing payment for trade finance, but it also included underwriting. So we removed the underwriting piece for trade finance or credit underwriting as such and decided to just focus on payments. And that's when we started working with like neobanks, creator platforms, gaming platforms, and so on, and started helping them first with payouts. And then very recently, we started helping them doing collections as well.
Got it. Okay, well, tell me what that actually means. So maybe I know you're under NDA with a lot of the customers that you work with, but if you can describe like an archetypical customer and how they're using Credible and why they're using Credible, that would be great.
So I'll tell you like the problem statement for these platforms. There are like multiple reasons for them. Reason number one, I would say, is they're all regulated in their corresponding markets. For example, gaming clients we work with, they are licensed in Curacao, they are licensed in Malta, some of them licensed in South America or UK, but they don't have ability to operate in the markets like, for example, Brazil, Vietnam, India, and so on. So we essentially enable them by acting as merchant on record, where we collect the payments, manage the taxes, manage the compliances, and then settle it for them. When these guys work with any traditional high risk payment gateway, like for example Nuvei or like Payment Wall or all these guys, they get settlement after 7 days. So that was the second problem statement. Like, okay, accessibility, number one, that the markets that they want to really work on get customers from, they cannot collect payment. Second is if they collect payment, they get it after 7 days. Now, if you're a user who wants to, let's say, trade or predict or play, uh, the moment you deposit, you want to see your balance on that platform. You don't want to kind of wait 7 days for the balance to reflect and then make your bet or make your move.
Right.
So that's where Credible comes in. We basically underwrite the risk. We built an AI module internally where we used to use it for trade finance. We started doing underwriting for the actual collection of payment by combining it with the data from the platform itself that we are working with, as well as we are integrated with multiple high risk databases where we have the information of cards and bank accounts involved in previous frauds or chargebacks and so on. So we underwrite the risk and we advance the settlement from our own float, our own DeFi platform, in the form of stable coins to the merchant. So this way, like the flow of fund is like, okay, we have collected the payment with multiple acquirers. We underwrite the risk with our AI and we use the DeFi to settle the money with the merchant. And all this happens within 30 seconds, by the way. So that is, another thing that we, really feel proud of, that
Mm-hmm.
within 30 seconds we are able to settle with merchants, we are able to settle with remittance companies. So yeah, so I think this is one of the, I would say, one of the main reason why even merchants which don't have any problem with 7 days and so on, they like to work with us.
Got it. Um, and I have a dumb question that I asked you the first time I met you, that maybe some people would want to know is just like, these people can't just use Stripe, right?
Absolutely, they cannot. I
Yeah.
mean, if even like although Stripe is great, like they started doing stable coins very recently. As a crypto exchange, they still don't onboard you.
Mm.
So
Why is that?
I think it is more about risk management. So there are platforms like Nuvei, WorldPay, and all, they onboard you. But Stripe is still, they're very mainstream. They're more focused on, like traditional businesses and so on. And they are also using stables to help traditional businesses get faster settlements or cross-border settlements. But typically, Stripe takes 3% plus a fixed, $3 or $4 fee, which is not, very much helpful for even if, let's say, they onboard these, high-risk merchants.
Right. And then I imagine that could hurt their banking relationships as well. It's like,
I believe so.
yeah.
Yes.
Okay. Yeah. So when we at MetaDAO evaluate companies and decide who to work with,
Yeah.
it's driven by two questions that we ask ourselves, which is what can go right
Yeah.
or what can go wrong and what could go right.
Right.
Like what are the risks and then what is the opportunity set? I guess starting with the former, what do you feel like are the big risks to your business right now?
I think we are in the business of risk, okay? Because, for example, like we trust our scoring system very well, like the risk AI that we call. But at the same time, we have access to only so much, information. The AI is trained only on so much information with multiple, DB accesses that we have. So there is a possibility that we end up, advancing some settlement and then it turns out to be a credit card fraud. Also, like we are still learning. I mean, we are technically just 7 months old in this business, and we are, we haven't had any, defaults so far, but we want to keep it that way. So we are still learning, but we are building internally like a insurance pool in a way where we make sure like okay, if something like this happens, we always make sure that the merchants are, never impacted. Like if let's say a bank account got locked out or suddenly we did some advance saying and that did not turn out to be good, so the merchants never get impacted. That's our number one priority, and that's why we are internally building like a float.
Mm-hmm. Got it.
Yeah.
What about business risk in terms of like, yeah, I guess, do you see any potential competitors? Yeah, or like the customer set changing, or yeah, I'm curious if you see any other business risks.
So I'll tell you like there will be of course competition, and I think competition will be healthy for us. It's such a massive market. uh, I think in terms of like how do we like how do we take it from the competitors perspective. We are actually learning from companies, especially in the stablecoin fintech space. I mean 40% of our volume is coming from stablecoin fintechs. So we see that okay, like right now we are working with pretty much tier 2 kind of customers, but if we want to onboard say the Cast of the worlds, the Re.Pay of the worlds, then we need to get more licensing in place. And that's where like we are applying for, like we have a US MSP, we are applying for MPI in Singapore. We are applying for MSO in Hong Kong. So this attracts different kind of tier one kind of businesses. So we are more focused on like how we can stay ahead of the competition by getting more and more compliances in place.
Yeah, that makes sense. Uh, okay, so now let's shift to what can go right. Like,
Yeah.
say, in a few years, Credible is like a multi-billion-dollar business. What do you think went right, or like, what is the path to victory there? Like, how do you get from here to there?
Right. So I'll tell you like I mean in 7 months we have done over $560 million in volume, and I think we are just getting started. We are doing about 60 to $70 million a month, so that's like averaging out at 2.2 million a day. And I think with the
And
current
what's been
pipe,
your growth rate over time?
I would say 20% month over month.
Great.
And we are essentially focusing on how we can close this year at 3.5 billion in total volume. And we have clear pipeline for that. I cannot name the clients, but we have two Nasdaq listed companies also, gonna be using Credible. One which is in pre-stocks, one which is, like a payment company. So yeah, we have like a bunch of really A list of clients coming on board working with us as well. And their demand is like, can we do 5 million a day? Can we do 10 million a day? Just one client. So you can imagine like the kind of demand we are, having. So we have to maintain a balance between our banking infrastructure, our DeFi float, our database for AI underwriting, and the liquidity that is moving through the platform. If we make one mismatch, there could be something wrong happening. So that's why we want to make sure that even if client is asking for 5-10 million a day, it's tempting, but we say no. Like we want to go slow, steady, and so on.
Right.
Yeah.
Want to provide a good product experience.
Exactly, because the business we are in or the industry we are in, once we lose the reputation, it will be very difficult for us to operate. So we are very mindful of our reputation, and we strongly believe that it's okay to go slow, but it's very important to make sure that nothing goes wrong.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Okay. One more serious question, which is you're raising on MetaDAO, which is like radical on a few fronts, right? Obviously, having a token is one thing, and then also MetaDAO has its own set of oddities around governance and float and unlocks. And I'm curious, like, what motivated your decision to launch a token and raise on MetaDAO?
So I'll tell you, like, I've been in Web3 since 2017. Okay. And one thing that I'm seeing is like, there was a phase where, like every token had an emotion, a faith associated to it. Right now, it's kind of shrinking a bit. And I genuinely feel like tokenized equity is what MetaDAO is offering, an ownership to the people who are participating on MetaDAO launch. And people need something real. And I really want Credible to be, a token where people regret later that, oh, why I did not participate.
Mm-hmm.
That kind of a thing. Like so we want to give opportunity to for everyone to kind of own the company. And I also believe that the more people care about Credible, the more successful we will be. And as people participate, they technically like care about what happens to Credible, so automatically it grows distribution for us. And other thing is like we have something called open payment stack. Open payment stack means, like, let's say if you want to onboard on Stripe or if you want to onboard on Bridge, you have to go through like a sales funnel. You have to make monthly commitments. You have to get approvals and all that. Credible is a platform where if you want to build another neobank, if you want to build another fintech, you can self onboard yourself. In couple of clicks, you can start your own pre-funding pool on Credible, and then you can start doing transactions in your own region, in your own country. Immediately, you can give access to people in your market to get onboarded with stablecoin. So I think for this, like having our own token gives initial cohort of distribution for such founders, because they can run a campaign saying that, okay, all the CRED token holders will get so and so discount on my fintech or my platform, and that builds another distribution mode for us. So I see a lot of value in launching the token, and I think we will be pretty much the first platform in the payment space that is having a token itself. Also, we are, DeFi at heart. Like we started as a DeFi platform. We use our own pool for sourcing the liquidity, doing the settlement with the merchants and everything. So I think we are very much DeFi first, and that's also one of the reason why we are doing token.
Yeah, that makes sense. It's always funny to me that like there's a lot of people who want to believe in internet capital markets, but then don't actually want to participate in internet capital markets. So respect to you for actually participating.
Thanks.
So last question, and this is just a funny one. What is your favorite ice cream flavor?
Mango.
Mango?
Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, thank you, Shri, for joining me and talking about Credible. And yeah, excited to have you on.
Thanks, Prophet.
Cheers.
It was amazing. Cheers.
Okay, I think we're good. Want to get some pictures? Sure. Yeah, we can do that.
Was it okay for the first time?
That was great. That was great. Right. He was great for first time. Yeah, yeah.
And for these, you can just keep talking, but for record, it'll be more.
Okay.
Okay. What's your favorite ice cream flavor?
Okay, it is still mango. But I want to ask you actually something. Like,
Yeah,
how
sure.
did you come up with MetaDAO?
I I guess if you've been in DeFi, do you remember Yearn Finance?
Yeah, of course.
Yeah. So, well, actually, more backstory. I was the first person on PayPal's crypto team. And I worked there from 2019 to 2022. And then after that, I worked at Yearn for a few months. And both of them I saw like some poor decisions being made. I mean, PayPal's obviously a big company, and I think this is typical of big companies. And then Yearn was like actually kind of crazy. Like they,
Aeon BTC it was, right? Like Aeon BTC was one of the product. Like you put BTC and then there was YBTC or something like that.
yeah, they probably had that. I mean,
Yeah.
yeah, if anything that would go in as a token would then become Y
Yeah.
token. And then I discovered, well, yeah, I watched a YouTube video where Robin Hanson talks about decision markets, and I was like, oh my gosh, this fixes all of these problems with, or not all these problems, but like it's a step function improvement in this and like reducing politics. Because like to me, that was actually the issue, is that basically there's like people who are good. There's some people who are good at doing politics, and there's some people that are good at building, and who are like not highly correlated. And I think markets shifted more towards like the people who actually know what they're doing. So yeah.
So actually what we're building is very much like PayPal. The next steps for us is right now we are just acting as a PSP, so the merchant side, but we are going to have the consumer side as well eventually, where we become a payment method. So right now we have like 70 creator apps under the same umbrella company called Omaza, which are using us. And then there is a Chinese group called 777. They are using us as well for payment collection, and they want to launch like a user interface where they can just top up and then start spending money on all these platforms. So we become more like a pay with credible option on these platforms, just like PayPal. So
Nice.
that's like part of our roadmap now. And how did you come up with the mask, by the way? That would be amazing. I want to know.
Stable diffusion.
Stable diffusion.
I said, make a robotic
Yeah.
profit. And then I generated it. Well, yeah, I generated like 200, and then one of them looked good, and then I used that as a source for another one, and I was like, and then I had to generate 200 of that variant, and then I liked this one the most with the sash. But